What's going on, everyone? So today I want to talk about my record collection. I've been meaning to make this video for some time now. I absolutely love records. I've been collecting records since I was a kid, and even when they were phased out, I was still collecting them, and I was collecting them before hipsters got into the scene and they're like, "Oh yeah, records, man." And then nowadays, stores like Walmart sell records again, and so that's pretty cool. I'm glad that people are enjoying records again. Me personally, I think that it's the definitive way to listen to music. They have that nice warm analog sound, and the mastering is really nice, and yeah, I love records. So either way, I want to kind of show you some of what I got, or actually I'm going to show all of them to you. We're going to take them off the shelf and we're going to flip through them, and I'm going to talk about like some of my favorites. And yeah, like they're actually sorted. They're kind of roughly sorted. So up here I have like my 80s popular music, and I also have some of my new arrivals. Some of my most favorite records are on this section of my shelf. And I also have like what I consider to be newer records, so records that were produced after like 1996, which I know that was actually quite a ways back now, but in my mind I still consider them newer records for whatever reason. And then so all these are metal, mostly 80s, some 70s, and then all these are metal. And then down here I have what I call my hippie shit, and so like 60s, 70s rock and stuff like that. And I also have my comedy section, and then I think most of this is overflow. I actually have a bunch more records that I don't have on my shelf right now because I'm trying to sort them, figure out like which ones I'm going to trade away, which ones I might try to sell, which ones I'm going to try to shove into this little shelf here, because everything in this shelf, there are records that I'm definitely never going to get rid of unless like the price is really right, you know what I mean? Either way, I think we should start with the metal section and we'll work our way from there. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I actually pulled a chunk out to start with. They are roughly alphabetized, however it starts from there and works its way to the other side, so it will be kind of backwards. It'll just kind of be all over the place. But here, let's give it a start here. We got Bullet. Here's my Black Sabbath collection. Of course you gotta have Heaven and Hell. Like, I love Sabbath. Sabbath is my favorite band, and so whenever I find a Sabbath album that's in at least decent shape for a reasonable price, I pick it up. And I love all Sabbath. I love Dio Sabbath, Ozzy Sabbath, you name it, I like it. Mob Rules, excellent album. And here's more of my Ozzy Sabbath. That one was hard to find. Got a couple Master Realities there. Volume 4. Sabotage. Couple Sabotages. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Couple of those, of course. That's the first one I bought. I remember because of this guy's name being on it. Paranoid. Gotta have Paranoid. Now I got a couple of the first. I got three copies of the first album. Reason being is this is a Warner Brothers and it still has like the seal on it. You could see that it was $4.98 at one point. This one's in like pretty much mint condition. And then you got the English pressing, and you know, you don't see that all the time. You can see that brand there, that label. And then you got the same one, but this is the original Warner Brothers release. This is the first version that the States got. And then you got like albums like this, Attention Black Sabbath, that you just never see anywhere, and I'm really happy to have this in my collection. Anthrax. I wish I had more Anthrax albums. There's I'm the Man, which they didn't even play that song live for a long time after Joey wasn't in the band anymore. Anvil. You don't hear too much about Anvil anymore, but I got a good chunk of their metal, or their albums there. Axe Witch. And of course, Axe. Gotta have Axe. And there's Axe Nemesis. Accept. Big Accept fan. Metal Heart. These are all first printings, by the way. These first pressings, whatever. Armored Saint. And Assassin. Grim Reaper. One of my favorite records right here. Beavis and Butthead. Made fun of them once. See you in hell, my friend. Yeah, that band. They're one of their albums. Grave Digger. Great White. This is a great album, man. Has that song Rock Me on it. Really good. Fastway. Love Fastway. Love the movie Trick or Treat. One of my favorites. And I really want that soundtrack someday. But until then, I have this. Lita Ford. This is the one where her and Ozzy do Close My Eyes Forever on. Also got some members from, I think, Motley Crue and other bands on that album. Another one of Lita Ford's albums there. Fate's Warning. Like them. They're good. Fist! You won't want to get fisted by that fist. Exodus. Love Exodus. These are that's one of the bands right there that really started it. You know what I mean? Like, they're just there. Kicking ass, taking names. That guy look familiar to you? Exciter. Dr. No. Kind of an obscure one. Dio, Last in Line, one of my favorite fucking records. I love this record. Excellent album. Dream Evil, another great album. Yeah. Holy Diver. Another one of my very all-time favorite albums. Love Dio. Intermission. You don't see that one too often. Now this one you really don't see often at all. Hungry for Heaven. It's actually kind of a rare album, or at least it was when I bought it. Who knows if it still is anymore. I don't really look these up or anything since I don't plan to sell them, but you can see what's on it there. It's not a entire album, but yeah, just a cool thing that you don't really see too often, so gotta point that out. Got Dark Wizard. Destruction. Demon Eyes. And that's a cool cover. This band. These guys, man. These guys are awesome. Got a couple of their, 2 or 3 of their albums. I guess just 2. Cleven Hoof. So black metal looking. Chained and Desperate. Because everybody has a copy of that at home, right? Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. Love me some Alice Cooper. Don't have as much Alice Cooper as I'd like to have. And you got a Celtic Frost there. Oh, there's another one. I thought I had 3. It just got stuck between the Celtic Frost albums. That's a sick ass cover. Love it. Blitzkrieg. If you're really into old metal, you might know who they are. Bronze. They're a classic cover right there. Beyond Possession. That's a cool one too. You could tell that one was discounted at some point. Next up you got Creator. One of those well-known bands back in the day. Same with Crocus. Now here's Judas Priest, which is one of my all-time favorite bands, and so I got as many of their records as I could possibly find over the years. Defenders of the Faith. Unleashed in the East. Got a couple copies of British Steel. Breaking the Law. And of course you got Hell Bent for Leather. Stained Class. You got Sad Wings of Destiny. It's a cool cover. Turbo. I'm your turbo lover. From there, you got Screaming for Vengeance, one of the best albums ever recorded in my opinion, and a second copy. And you got Rock'n'Rolla, which is actually pretty hard to come by nowadays for the first pressing like this. Jagdpanzer, Iron Maiden, another one of my favorite bands, and so I have a few of their records here. Peace of Mind, The Number of the Beast. Love Iron Maiden so much, and there's the first album. And you got Live After Death, really cool album. Sounds really good. Power Slave. Now you got Icon. You got some metal bands that if you didn't know them back in the day like these guys, then you're probably not gonna know them. Heathen. They're one of those kind of well-known bands amongst metal fans. Halloween. Hell yeah. Got a couple of their albums here. Walls of Jericho. Hallows Eve. Look at that dude. I want to fuck with him. Tales of Terror. Hawaii. Now, what's cool about Hawaii is that Marty Friedman, that was also when Megadeth is in Hawaii. Might be able to see him there. There's another one of their albums. Check it out. This is cool. See? Yeah. Cool, right? And you got Guns N' Roses, which was one of my favorite bands back in the late 80s, early 90s. Still like them, of course. Use Your Illusion 2. Use Your Illusion 1. You got Lies, Lies, Lies there, which had some controversial songs, like One in a Million, because of some of the words that he says in the song. And you got Appetite for Destruction. And now we're going to move on to my Kiss collection, starting with Ace Frehley. Frehley's Comet. A great album. You got the solo Kiss albums here. Peter Criss. Gene Simmons. Ace Frehley. And Paul Stanley. And then you got the best of the solo albums. But you don't really see that album too often, or at least I don't. Lick It Up, Asylum, Animalize, another copy of Animalize, where the record's in better condition than the cover probably. Unmasked, which that one you can see was discounted, and it still has the shrink wrap on it. And then you got another copy of it there. Crazy Nights. Another copy of Crazy Nights. And you got Creatures of the Night. This is the day cover. And then you got the night cover of Creatures of the Night. You got Dressed to Kill. Killers, which that one wasn't easy to come by. Hotter Than Hell. Rock and Roll All Over. Or Rock and Roll Over, I should say. Destiny. Dynasty. Destroyer. Because you gotta have a copy of Destroyer in your collection. That's just have to. You got Double Platinum. Really cool looking cover. You got Kiss the Originals, this is a second printing. But I actually got this from my friend Daryl. Kind of my best friend out in Ohio. And I've kept them all these years, but it's like the first 3 albums, I believe. And of course, you have to have Kiss Alive 1 and 2. Just have to, man. And I got all the inserts for these too. And then you got this here. I kill you. And now we're finally moving on to Ozzy Osbourne, my all-time favorite lead vocalist. This is actually a bootleg album here. I got it at a record convention probably 20 years ago or so. And it's an amazing show, recorded live in Cleveland, 1981. So Randy Rhoads is in there, and just a phenomenal live performance. Love this album, one of my favorites. And of course, you gotta have the Ozzy Osbourne Randy Rhoads tribute album. And you got No Rest for the Wicked, I'm Looking for a Miracle Man, and The Ultimate Sin, Bark at the Moon, Diary of a Madman, and Blizzard, Crazy Train. All the great songs. So great that you gotta have more than one copy. And you got the live EP, which apparently is new. And yeah, it was a $5.98 series, low price record. And I don't see that one too often anymore, so I'm glad that I have it. A band called Nightmare. We got this one, Nasty Savage, and another Nasty Savage here. Merciful Fate, love them. Got a few of their albums sitting around. Mama's Boys, which this cover just cracks me up. I mean, come on. That's hilarious. Metal Church, fairly well known. Malice. MSG, yeah. They rock. Love this album. Metallica, of course you gotta have some Metallica. Master of Puppets. Master! And you got the Nothing Else Matters single there, off the Black Album. You know, I got some more Metallica hiding somewhere around here, I think. Well, maybe we'll come across them, but here's Megadeth. Killing is my business and business is good. Oh, there's more Metallica. There's the Garage Stage revisited or whatever. Revisited. And then you got some more Megadeth. Peace sells, but who's buying? One of my favorites. And of course, another one of my favorite bands here, Motley Crue. Got Dr. Feelgood. Phenomenal album. Theater of Pain, which a lot of people don't like this one as much as others, but I like it. I think it's a good album. Shout at the Devil, one of my favorites. Love it. Lion, because everybody loves Lion. And you got these guys here, Living Death, wherever they are. I don't think I've ever listened to that, to be honest. Loudness. It's a cool cover. Lion's Pride. Rawr. Of course, if you're a metal fan, you gotta have some Slayer albums. Yeah, Seasons of the Abyss there. And Scorpions. Rock you like a hurricane. Got a couple copies here. And Scorpions, Lonesome Crow. Sabotage. That is just a sick looking cover. I like that. I like that a lot. Sodom. Or Sabotage. Savage Grace. Saxon. It's a cool cover. These guys, what the hell were they called? Oh yeah, Silver Chalice. The big mountain flipping off here. It's pretty metal. The Rods. The Rods and the Raw. The Rods, Wild Dogs. Rat. I like this album actually more than their later stuff. Riot. Kind of a funny cover. Raven. Life's a Bitch. This is actually a promotional copy for radio stations. Stay Hard, often noted to be their best album. Razor Blaze, or whatever the hell they're called. Rogue Mel. Isn't that just a cool cover? Love it. Queen's Right. Some more Queen's Right. Q5. Don't hear too much about them anymore. Quiet Riot, Mental Health, one of my favorite albums. Purgatory. You don't see that too often. Poison, unfortunately, with the edited cover. I don't know if they actually did the full album cover for record. I know they did for tape. He used to have the unedited version on cassette. I don't anymore. Actually, I think that might be my only Poison album right there. Pretty Minds. Pile Driver. These guys just make some cool looking covers. Look at this guy down here getting smashed by this guy's guitar. It's awesome. Oh, there's that. Looks like I got more. I do have some OZM. Oh, cool. Under badass looking cover right there. And this will be the rest of my metal section, even though I do have some metal records in other categories, which we'll get to when we get to them. Y&T. Y&T. Wasp. We are sexual perverts. Witchfinder General. I don't know if I can really show you this cover without getting in trouble. Same with this one. I'm not seeing nothing. Are you guys? Nah. Love their covers, man. They always put naked chicks all over their covers. Really cool. Tigers and Pantang. There it is. I can't even say it, but I do have a few of their albums. And Tank. There's nothing more heavy metal than a tank. Twisted Sister. Not my favorite album by them, but that one is. Excellent album. So now we're gonna kind of go into what I consider to be my quote-unquote hippie shit. This is a Doors album that I got from a library when they were phasing out a lot of their records. So it has some remnants on there. One of my favorite albums right here. It's American Prayer. Has a bunch of Jim Morrison's poetry that the Doors put, music to. And they're a great album. Waiting for the Sun. Soft Parade. Got a couple of those. Morrison Hotel. That's when Morrison plumped up a little bit, and so they're trying to find ways to hide him a little bit, make him look a little skinnier. Probably should have put him in black or something. Greatest Hits. LA Woman. Strange Days. And another copy. 13. One of my favorites. And another Strange Days. Man, I might have to phase some of these out. Don't Bring Me Down. Bruce. Good album there. Ooh, I don't know if I can show that. That's actually an underage girl. This is Blind Faith's album. Yeah. Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood, Ginger Baker. Basically Cream right there. Yeah, this is what the album kind of looked like in the US. Because, yeah, that isn't up to US standards right there. You got Gilda Radner live from New York. Definitely look up Talk Dirty to the Animals. Hilarious. Shel Silverstein. Yeah, there we go. You might remember his children's books. He did like the book A Light in the Attic. Yeah, he actually has way better adult content, like The Great Smoke Off, that consists of smoking weed. And there's like a lot of other great content. Very funny, talented dude. Blue Oyster Cult. Don't Fear the Reaper. Duck Wars. Hilarious. I buy albums that are funny. I do have some disco albums. I do like disco. I wasn't alive in the 70s, so I didn't have to deal with the backlash or anything like that. But I like it. I can admit that. This one's still unopened. I guess I could probably crack it open and learn how to do the hustle one day. Wild Cherry. That's a good one. I'm Rick James, bitch. And you got some Beatles. Elton John. Love this album cover. Love the art. Rick Derringer. I think somebody gave that to me for free. Santana. Excellent album. Best of the Animals. House of the Rising Sun. All those classics. Power Slave. You got the New Riders. Oh man, I actually really like that. I like this album, but I know a lot of people like to laugh at me for liking that one. That's okay. And I picked this one up to laugh at recently. Bill Cosby talks to kids about drugs. Oh, I'm sure he does. George Carlin. I can never get enough of those. This one actually was sent to me by the Game Czar. And the Babies, he also sent me that one. Here's most of my comedy albums, starting with Cheech and Chong's Sleeping Beauty. This actually folds out into a big red, a pill, basically, horse tranquilizer. Then you got Let's Make a Dope Deal. Just found this one recently, actually. I'd never seen it in person before until then. I got a couple copies of Big Bamboo. One of them has the paper, and I think one of them might not. That one does. So here's we'll just take it out, and then I'll throw it aside real quick here. Here's the Cheech and Chong rolling paper, just in case a Labrador eats your stash and shits it out, and you want to roll it up. It's pretty cool, isn't it? I refuse to use it just because I think it's too cool. And then I have another copy there that I don't think has the paper. Let's check real quick. Oh, I guess it does, but it's kind of oh, well, apparently I have two, so if anybody wants to smoke, let me know. We'll make it happen. There's that Cheech and Chong album, the Up in Smoke soundtrack. You got Rude Awakening, which was a movie that Cheech Marin was in. Cheech and Chong's Wedding Album. I got a couple copies of this. This one here, I picked up not too long back, but this one here that has a chunk out of the cover, this used to belong to my parents, and I snatched it up from them. You got their first album here. And we got some George Carlin. Fire Sign Theater. Absolutely love these guys. Very funny. They were the voice actors on a couple of the Mattel and Television and Televoice games. B-17 Bomber and Bomb Squad, I believe. And they're one of their albums. Woody Woodbury, a comedian that nobody ever talks about anymore. He's like an old fisherman. Very funny guy. Or George Carlin there. And going back to Woody Woodbury. Yeah. Apparently I got two of those. Yeah. I'm not going to say the name of this cover here just because I don't want to get my ass kicked, but this is an hilarious album. Highly recommended. Monty Python. Saturday Night Live. It's pretty cool. Some more Fire Sign Theater. Eddie Murphy. Absolutely love Eddie Murphy. I'm glad that he's making a comeback. Steve Martin Brothers. And that's actually music there, but here's his comedy albums. Some of the first comedy albums that I ever owned, like this one here. Just a wild and crazy guy. And another one. And Let's Get Small. Such a great album. So now we're to my top shelf. So some of my very favorite albums are going to be up in here. This album right here, on the other hand, I really like this album, but it's kind of a joke amongst record collectors because when you're rifling through records at a thrift store, chances are you're going to come across several copies of this album. And most people don't understand why. Maybe they just think it's because of the sexy cover, but it's actually a really good album. Pearl Jam's Vitology. I remember buying that new for $9.99. Yeah, you don't buy new records for that anymore. White Zombie, Astro Creep 2000. That's actually on blue vinyl. Very cool. Lords of Acid Pussy. Excellent album. Body Count, Born Dead. One of my favorite albums, actually. I wish I had more Body Count on record. System of a Down, who I've seen live a couple times. One of my favorites. Excellent album. Morbid Angel, who I've actually met a couple times, and really cool dudes out from Florida. And they're Morbid Angel, Domination. You got Tool's Opiate. Offspring, who I've seen live. I've seen Tool live. I've actually met Maynard as well. Aphex Twin. I love me some Aphex Twin. Slipknot, who I've met, sold weed to. Really nice guys. Got to meet them back in the day before they put the mask on, or before they unmasked, I guess I should say. And yeah, that's on the green vinyl. It's really solid record. You got Korn's Follow the Leader. Not my favorite album of theirs, but far from my least favorite. I think Issues was kind of my least favorite. Now this is a real treat right here. I just picked this up a little bit ago. This is Mike Patton's new album, Corpse Flower. Brilliant album. Love it. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. You got Metallica's newest album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. This is like my most favorite Metallica album since like the Black Album, or really since like Injustice for All. Like basically it could have went Injustice for All and then this, and I would have been totally happy with that. You got another Mike Patton album here, and of course you gotta have Faith No More. Actually bought this at the concert. Yeah, they kicked ass that night at Red Rocks in Morrison, Colorado. Snoop Dogg, gotta have some Snoop Dogg on record. And of course you gotta have some NWA. Found that at a thrift store for $1. Say. I know. And no, I don't need any education on how magnets work. I actually really like ICP, I used to really like ICP. This was the beginning of the end of ICP, in my opinion. I think that's bullshit. The only 1,000 copies pressed. I don't think so. I think I've seen more than 1,000. Who knows? But either way, I have it. Here's Pink Floyd's last album. And, yeah, gotta have that one on record. It's a great record. Got Wish You Were Here. Pink Floyd The Wall. Like, this one has the, sticker going on up front. Pretty cool. This one doesn't have the sticker. But, this one was actually, my aunt and uncle's, and they gave it to me. So, I've had it in my collection ever since. Got the original master recording of Dark Side of the Moon. That one, I've never seen anybody else have this record in the history of ever. Hell Comes to Your House, and it's on red vinyl, and it has some of the most awesome bands on it. You got Manowar, Exciter, Anthrax, Loudness, Metallica, The Rods, Tsunami, Earthshaker, all kinds of good bands on here. And like I said, I've never I've never seen anybody else have this album before, just me. I got the one and only copy, probably. Who knows? This one's actually really special to me as well. This is my Woodstock album that is signed to me by Richie Havens and John Sebastian. And you can see it says, "To Michael, a friend forever and Ev, Richie Havens." And then you got, "Hi Michael, best of luck, John Sebastian." My mom actually got that autograph for me because she worked at a hotel many years ago, and both of these guys stayed there. So yeah, she said they're both really cool dudes too. They stood down there talking to her for a long time. There's Styx. Kilroy was here. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Best of Dean Martin. I like Dean Martin. That's amore. Beatles. Gotta have at least some Beatles in your collection. I used to have more, but I sold them off. I kind of wish I wouldn't have. Got the White Album. You gotta have Bob Marley in your collection. If you don't have Bob Marley in your collection, something's wrong with that. Got the Mr. Rogers record. He looks pretty young there. The Rapping Duke, one of my favorites. This is a song that's really well known amongst audio collectors. It's pretty funny. It's a guy doing a John Wayne impression, rapping to the beat. Aha, 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 ha, 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 ha. Look it up on YouTube. Got a Skinny Puppy album. I wish I had more Skinny Puppy, but sadly that's the only one. Joe Satriani, Surfing with the Alien, one of my all-time favorite albums right here. Oh, I love it. Love that album. Patsy Cline. I loves me some Patsy Cline. This is a weird album here. This is called Lesbian Concentrate, and it's just songs and poetry written by lesbians for lesbians. They have this one song on here. It's called Leapin' Lesbians, and it's pretty hilarious. Now we have some of my picture discs. Got Anthrax. I think that's just an interview. I only listened to it one time, and it was a long time ago, so I don't really remember. You got the Nightmare Before Christmas soundtrack, which is just incredible looking. Look at that. You got Zero on the back. And then you got Def Leppard's Hysteria. Excellent one to have. Look at that. Got some Cradle of Filth. Saw those guys live forever ago. And you got the Clockwork Orange soundtrack. And, you know, I spent years trying to find this. I bought it on CD off of eBay many years ago, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. And then all of a sudden one popped up at a thrift store. And I was like, wow, no kidding. Then I got a second one. It's actually hiding. There it is. Got a second one at a thrift store not too long ago. And I was really happy about that because my other copy, the one that we just saw, is a little tore up. So it's nice having a nicer condition one. And then, of course, you got the Ghostbusters soundtrack. Star Wars. The Airplane soundtrack, which I had never seen on vinyl until recently. Story of Star Wars. You got Batman, the Batman movie soundtrack there from '89, with a lot of Prince on there. Rocky Horror Picture Show, which that album right there was actually purchased by my mom when it came out, and she kept it around, and I ended up with it. Neverending Story soundtrack. Yeah. Hey, I liked them in the 80s. You know what? I still like them. I don't pay attention to their new content or anything, but hey, I liked them in the 80s. I was one of those kids, and so whatever, you know. The Go-Go's. We've got the beat, we've got the beat. And you got, hey Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind, hey Mickey. You got some Wham! Wham! Rick Springfield. He's in love with Jesse's girl. You got some Rod Stewart. I don't know. I might get rid of that. Who knows? Thomas Dobley. She blinded me with science. Cyndi Lauper. Because girls just like to have fun. And of course, you gotta have some Michael Jackson. Police. Not a bad album. Madonna. Express yourself. I like me some Madonna. Eddie Money, who recently passed away, unfortunately, but good album nonetheless. Did you know that he was actually a cop before he was a musician? Kind of weird, huh? Tommy Two Tone has some good jams. Run DMC. Some more Madonna. Like a Virgin. Dead Presidents. The Circle Jerks. Looks like we're getting into my punk rock section here. You got the Quincy Punks. Some more Quincy Punks. The Dead Milkmen. Love the Dead Milkmen. And I'm a big NoFX fan. And so I've gotten a few of those. This one's actually on Blue Marble vinyl, which is it's really cool. Rancid NoFX. Some more NoFX here. So long, and thanks for all the shoes. The Decline. The Longest Line. Punk and Drublick. One of my favorite albums ever. Misfits Collection 2. Misfits Legacy of Brutality. Got some Ramones End of the Century. G.G. Allin, Brutality and Bloodshed for All. Big G.G. Allin fan. He was like a shock rocker or shock punk rocker. Yeah. A lot of people don't like him. I get it. It's fine. Whatever. Patti Smith. Some nice armpit hair going on there. And you got the Sex Pistols. And of course you gotta have some Iggy Pop. And you got some more Sex Pistols. And I just remembered that I actually have just a few more things that I want to show you real quick. Here are my 45s. Don't have too many. There's Kung Fu Fighting. Got some Penguins. They did Earth Angel. And The Hustle. Do 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 do. Do the Hustle. And Wild Cherry. Play that funky music, white boy. Macabre. Now, I absolutely love Macabre. Death metal band. I actually got to meet them. They gave this to me personally. And, yeah, very cool. You got a Cheech and Chong 45 here, which this is the only Cheech and Chong 45 I've ever seen in person. Hey man, I was framed. And this is a rarity. This is the Beatles' White Album, but it's on 45, and I think it's like 4 or 5 45s up in there. And it might not even be the whole album, but it's Japanese. Pretty interesting, right? You got some Tommy Two Tone, 8675309. And the Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. Journey, Open Arms, good song. Hey Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind, hey Mickey. You got Bon Jovi, You Give Love a Bad Name. Some Pink Floyd. I always like to pick up Floyd whenever I find it. Here's a promotional copy. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, the edited version. And then this is just a cover now, but there's Close My Eyes Forever, the remix. Peter Ford and Ozzy. We got this awesome Masters of the Universe record set. Super cool. Had to snatch that up when I found it. And you got Crisscross. Jump, jump. Guar. Little Christmas 45 here. I bought that. I think maybe like the 5th time I saw him. I've seen Guar like 7 times. Mostly with Odorous and once without. And Monstrosity, Burden of Evil, which the band handed to me at a concert. But yeah, that's it. That's my whole collection. I appreciate you guys taking the time to check them out. I know that this is kind of a lengthy video, but my records mean a lot to me, and I'm gonna continue to collect records as long as I can. Ugh.